It is doubtless a pleasure and an honor to me that I have been asked to speak on the subject of Quaid Azam as my friend, guide and philosopher. But I am afraid I cannot perform the task satisfactorily because of my own limitations and the limitation owing to the very nature of this occasion. To me, Quaid Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah was a friend in need, a friend who was in supreme need in the darkest hour of our checkered national history. He was the unerring guide who beckoned to the drifting nation the surest path out of the thick woods, the path leading them from age-long sojourn in wilderness to an abode of satiety and security. He was the philosopher who placed the nation on an abiding ideological foundation and presaged its distinctive destiny. Indeed, he was himself the man of destiny, or in other words, the destiny incarnate. As a worker in our independence struggle and subsequently in the protracted democratic movement, I always feel that I am, like my many other colleagues, a product of the institution personified by the Quaid Azam. I would like to cite a few instances of his magnetic personality. It was 1936. The political scene in Muslim India was betraying a depressing and disquieting lull. Muslims everywhere in the peninsula were poor and ignorant, oppressed and repressed, backward and disorganized. The plight of the Muslims was all the more pathetic in Bengal, where they constituted the majority of the population. Yet there was no effective outlet for the ventilation of their smoldering grievances. The All India Muslim League, though founded 30 years before, remained practically an impotent organization. Confined as it was to the feudal elite, its voice seldom reached out to the man on the street. Because of its very composition, the outlook and policy of the League was rather conservative. The common Muslim, therefore, nourished little enchantment for it, although he was smarting under the ruthless tyranny and wanton exploitation of the Hindu landlords and moneylenders. Politically conscious Muslims in Bengal owed their allegiance to either of the two organizations, namely the United Muslim Party and the Krishak Praja Party, formed on the eve of the general election to be held under the Government of India Act of 1935. The former was led by the Nawab of Dhaka, Khaja Habibullah, while the latter by Mr. A.K. Fazlul Haq. The Muslim League had practically no roots among the people. In this dismal background, the leadership of the All India Muslim League devolved on Mr. Jinnah, and he was paying a visit to Calcutta sometime in late 1936. His visit purported to unite the two organizations of Muslim Bengal with a view to bring them within the fold of the All India Muslim League. Muslim political elements from the different districts of Bengal were rushing to Calcutta to meet Mr. Jinnah. I was a young practicing lawyer, having made my debut in public life as an elected member in the local self-governing body. I too traveled to the city to see the leader, and I obtained an interview with him along with a few other visitors. Mr. Jinnah started his monologue with the plight of the Muslim masses in India. He narrated their poverty and privation, their ignorance and superstition, their fatalist outlook and lack of purpose of direction. His analysis was logical and devoid of passion. I was particularly impressed by his astonishingly accurate knowledge about the condition of the teeming millions, although he was commonly known to be a man of the upstairs. Proceeding further, he said that the Muslims had suffered too long and too badly, and that it was now incumbent on the men of light and leading to help them out of the labyrinth. Mr. Jinnah's prescription was, and he advanced it with all the emphasis, that the common Muslims must have to be organized in one single platform, under one single banner, for reaching one single goal. But then it must be a democratic struggle to be carried out through the time-honored constitutional means. Finally, he told us that this was precisely the mission of the All India Muslim League under him. The League, he added, would no longer be confined to the castles of the Nawabs and parlors of the landlords. It must take roots into the hearts of the millions of downtrodden Muslims whose economic and socio-cultural salvation ought to be its sole motive. He concluded his discussion with the suggestion that should we agree to his views, we should carry the new message of the League to every nook and corner of Bengal and organize it everywhere. His words were all through markedly sincere, candid and convincing. Coming from the venerable personality as he was, they filled me with a new inspiration. I visualized a flash of light in the dark horizon of the Muslims and an able friend to guide them towards that. On my way back, his ennobling words were resounding again and again in my ear. I told myself, here is he for whom Muslim India was groping so long and so desperately. Soon after my return to Mymensingh, my home district, I set about organizing the League with all vigor and enthusiasm. The following year, Mr. Jinnah undertook a pre-election itinerary of Bengal, and he came down to my district to address 3 public meetings in 3 different constituencies. The Muslim League was still in its rudiments, and his meetings could not attract many people.